Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady, where I help home business owners win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish. And when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. And today is all about filing extensions, right? And if you don't know, at the time of this recording, it is tax day. April 15th is the normal tax day in the United States. There are some shifts here and there. So like for this year, for instance, in 2019, tax day in certain parts of the country, like Massachusetts or Maine, up in that area, they've got a holiday today. So they actually have until April 17th, but everybody else, April 15th, right? So the question is, how do you file an extension? All right. So April 15th being the tax deadline, you either file your taxes or file an extension. And the extension is for filing the paperwork. It's not for paying your taxes. So if you have a tax liability and you file an extension, that doesn't stop the penalties and interest from accruing. But filing an extension, what that does do is that it keeps you from incurring the failure to file penalty, which has got a little bit more teeth than the failure to pay penalty that you get when you don't pay your tax liability. So if you want to file an extension, if you use a tax professional, you want to contact your tax professional to ask them to file an extension for you, even though you may have been going to the same person for 15 years. As your tax professional, we cannot file an extension for you without your expressed permission. So and listen, it's not your tax professional's job to reach out to you to ask if you want an extension. This is your responsibility as a taxpayer. So everybody knows tax day is April 15th. And if you have not filed your taxes, if you use a tax professional, reach out to your tax professional to ask them to file an extension for you. We can't just go and do it all willy-nilly, because for all we know, you could have chosen to go somewhere else. And you have to reach out to your tax professional. Number two, you can mail in your extension. You can go to, my eye is itching, you guys. You can go to irs.gov and you can download an extension form and you can mail it in. It's got to be postmarked by April 15th. All right. If you have a tax liability and you know it, you want to send something with that extension, because your penalties and interest are based on the amount that you owe. So if you know on a normal day that you normally have, let's say, a $2,000 tax bill, then you go ahead and you send that $2,000 in with your extension. And then once you file your paperwork, let's say that, you know what, that $2,000 was an overpayment, then you can either get a refund or you can apply that overpayment to your next year's tax liability. So the money just doesn't disappear. You can dictate what happens to that money, whether you get the refund back if you overpaid, or you may apply it to your next year's tax liability. And so if you have estimated tax payments, then you can apply that overage to that current year's tax liability. So it kind of, it reduces the amount that you pay. You still got to pay those estimated tax payments though. Okay. And the reason is, for people that have estimated tax payments, you pay those estimated tax payments because at the end of the year, you really want to try to avoid the underpayment penalty. If you look at your 1040, there is a little, it's usually really small, it's all in the fine print. So if you look at that right by, where it says the amount that you owe, if there's a number there, that's your underpayment penalty. So there are some people I've seen that have had thousands of dollars in underpayment penalties because they didn't make their estimated tax payments, and they make a lot of money. So that's just additional money. So this is why you definitely want to do that. And like I said, if during the year you have overpaid with your estimated tax payments, you can apply that to your current year's liability. If you have, there's lots of resources to file an extension. Now, one thing I want to caution you against, if you go to irs.gov, there's lots of resources there for you to file an extension electronically for free, but it's really not for free, because you are going to be giving up a lot of your information, and it's to a third party person, not to the IRS. So make sure that you know that when you're putting your information in there, you're probably signing up for somebody's email list, and you're going to start getting correspondence from them. So if you want to do it yourself, you can mail that baby in. And even if you want to pay, pay something towards your taxes, you can also do that online. You can go to www.irs.gov/payments, and you can pay your taxes online, even if you mail in the extension form. But the fact is that if it's tax day and you are not ready to file your taxes, you need to file the extension so that you do not incur the failure to file penalty, because that's just additional money that you have to pay, instead of filling out a form that takes all of 5 minutes, you guys. Now, for states, though, there are some states that the only way that you're going to file an extension is if you're paying some money. So there are some states that, like, if you don't owe, they're like, okay, you get an automatic 6 month extension. Don't call us, right? But if you owe, though, and you know it, you file an extension, you need to send a payment in order for that extension to go through. Again, that extension is for the paperwork. It's not for the penalties and interest. So you still want to make sure that if you live in a state that doesn't have an extension form where you have to pay some money, you want to send something if you know you got a tax bill, because the worst that can happen is that you get that money refunded or it gets applied to your current year's tax liability. But what you don't want to do is not file the extension when you really need to, and then incur extra penalties because that's the government. If you don't comply, there is a penalty for that. There's an app for that. Trust me when I tell you, the government has a penalty for that. Okay. So get your extensions filed. And listen, here's something else. Do you know you don't have to wait till April 15th to file an extension? Do you know you could actually do that, like March or something? This is the thing that I want people to understand when it comes down to filing taxes. You don't have to wait until April 15th. Newsflash, because even if you owe, you can still file early, and you don't have to mail the check or make the payment until April 15th. People think they're doing something to the government by waiting until the last day to file and pay. You're not doing anything to the government. You're only inconveniencing yourself and possibly your tax professional if you use one. But you're not doing the government any kind of disservice, because if you don't pay by April 15th, they're just going to start the clock on that, the penalties and interest. So don't wait until the last minute. You've got 90 other days, okay, roughly 90 other days that you can be filing your taxes. Waiting till the last one makes zero sense. I mean, it's only impacting you. It's only impacting your tax professional or whoever you get to do your taxes. That's it. And then you put yourself under the gun. If you self-prepare, you're only putting yourself under the gun, because then if you don't finish, you put yourself in that position, right? So extensions, call your tax professional, ask them to file an extension for you, file one by paper. You can mail that in. You can get tax software to file your extension, but make sure you file your extension so you don't get the penalty. And when you file the extension, you then have until October 15th to file your taxes. Now, again, the penalties and interest, if you have a tax liability, they start adding up starting April 16th, right? Don't wait until October 15th, okay? Because that's the next deadline. And then if you don't file by then you incur the failure to file penalty that goes all the way back to April 15th. All right? And if you're getting a refund, this is something else. If you're getting a refund, file an extension anyway, even if you think you're getting a refund, because in the event that you don't actually get a refund, then you're saving yourself that money. Okay? So that is it for today's episode of Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish, and you can come right here to get your questions answered about your home business taxes. Yes, I am tired. All right. Have a great day, you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.